Sometimes you just want to get behind the curtain,
Mm-hmm.
right? Understand what's really involved in something you use constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing today. We got this really interesting piece from ObserverPoint, navigating the hurdles, challenges of programming,
Yeah, that's a good one.
because folks want to know, what are the real issues developers grapple with? We're not talking about learning Python basics here.
No, no, this is about the day-to-day grind, the stuff you face in the crunches.
Right.
We're going to look at, why software is just so inherently complex sometimes,
Okay.
and the headaches you get dealing with older systems, legacy code,
Yeah.
the constant fight with bugs, obviously.
Always bug.
Always bugs. And then there's the whole keeping up with technology treadmill.
Right. It never stops changing.
Never. Plus, how teams work together sometimes don't.
Yeah.
And even, the personal side, the toll it can take.
So by the end of this, the idea is you'll have a much better sense of what really goes into making all this digital stuff work.
Exactly. A real feel for the landscape.
Okay, let's dive in. So the article starts with complexity. It's not just like typing some commands, is it?
Oh, not even close. Think about any major app on your phone.
Right.
Looks simple, maybe, but underneath you could have millions of lines of code.
Millions.
Yeah, and tons of different parts all talking to each other, relying on other services maybe. And the thing is, you change one little piece over here, and suddenly something completely unexpected breaks way over there.
Oof. Yeah, I could see that.
So managing all that interconnectedness, it takes really careful planning, good practices, solid architecture if you don't
Right.
have that. You get software that's buggy, sure, but
Yeah.
also just incredibly hard to update later. It's
Yeah.
like trying to add a new room onto a house with a shaky foundation.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Then the article talks about legacy code. That term sounds kind of dusty. What's the deal with this?
Legacy, it basically means older software system.
Right. Stuff that's been around a while.
Exactly. And often it was built using older tech, older languages maybe. And the big problem, the documentation.
I guess. It's missing.
Often, yeah. Or it's really sparse or just plain wrong. So you're trying to figure out this complex machine with no instruction manual.
Oh, man.
And maybe the original people who built it, they're long gone.
So you're reverse engineering someone else's work from years ago?
Pretty much. And lots of established companies rely heavily on these systems. So updating them, fixing them, it just takes ages. You spend so much time just trying to understand how it works before you can even touch it.
Okay, so super complex systems, sometimes built on these old undocumented foundations, leads us to, I imagine, a very common pain point: bugs, debugging. The article calls it a persistent challenge.
Persistent is the right word. It's not a side task. It's fundamental. Debugging, finding, and fixing errors, it takes up a huge chunk of development time.
And these aren't just typos.
Sometimes, sure. But often it's like deeper logical flaws in how the program was designed. Or subtle syntax things the computer lets slide until, boom. Or just weird interactions between different software parts you didn't foresee.
So it requires what? A lot of patience?
Oh, yeah. Patience, a methodical approach. You need to be systematic. Like a detective, almost. Following clues, using special tools debuggers to step through the code.
Line by line.
Line by line, watching what happens, trying to pinpoint where things go off the rails. It's painstaking work sometimes.
And then, just to make it more fun, the article mentions bugs you can't easily reproduce. That sounds infuriating.
Oh, it is. That's probably one of the most frustrating things.
Like a ghost in the machine.
Exactly. A bug that only happens, say, when you click 3 buttons in a very specific sequence, but only on Tuesdays and only on one particular phone model.
You're kidding. Well, maybe not the Tuesday part.
Almost. But yeah, these intermittent bugs, they're killers. Because how do you fix something if you can't even make it happen reliably?
So what do you do?
Well, the article mentions that you need super detailed logs of everything the system does, really rigorous testing procedures trying to trap it, and honestly, a deep, deep understanding of how everything should work to spot where it might be deviating. It's unpredictable, maddening, really.
Okay. Complex systems, legacy code, tricky bugs. And on top of all that, the tech itself keeps changing at lightning speed. The article talks about that relentless pace.
That's a huge one. New languages pop up, new framework. Those are like pre-built code libraries to speed things up, new tools. It's constant.
So you can't just learn one thing and be set for life.
Definitely not. To stay relevant, to be effective, you have to keep learning continuously. And the article's right. This isn't just casual reading. It takes real time, real effort. Think about the shift from like desktop software to web apps.
Yeah.
Then mobile apps, now cloud stuff, AI.
Yeah.
Each wave needs new skills.
And that pressure, learning all the new stuff while you're also trying to finish your actual project work.
Yeah.
The article hints at stress, burnout.
It's a very real risk.
Yeah.
Juggling deadlines with needing to skill up. It's mentally taxing. You have to be strategic, figure out what's actually important to learn right now, how to fit it in.
Not just chase every shiny new object.
Exactly. But still, that feeling of always playing catch-up, it can definitely wear you down. It contributes to stress, no question.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Programming isn't usually done alone in a dark room, right?
Yeah.
The article brings up collaboration, teamwork.
That's key. Most serious software is built by teams. You've got different kinds of developers, designers, maybe project managers, QA testers.
Lots of people involved.
Yeah, diverse skills, diverse perspectives, and getting everyone aligned, communicating clearly, that's vital.
But challenging.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The article highlights this. Misunderstandings happen easily. People might have different priorities. Communication can break down. It's like that house analogy again. If the architect, plumber, and electrician aren't talking,
You get a mess.
you get a mess. Different working styles, different viewpoints. Making it all mesh smoothly takes effort.
And then there's the client, right? The article mentions unclear or changing requirements. That sounds like another layer of difficulty.
Oh yeah, that's a classic headache. You start building based on what you think the client wants.
Uh-huh.
And then halfway through, they either realize they wanted something else or they just change their mind. Or maybe the requirements were just fuzzy to begin with.
So you end up redoing work.
A lot of rework, potentially. Wasted effort. It's super frustrating. So that communication with the client, really nailing down the needs up front and managing expectations as you go, it's crucial. But it's hard. It's like trying to hit a moving target sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that. Finally, the article touches on the personal toll. It's not just mental gymnastics. It can affect you physically, too.
It really can. I mean, the intense focus, the long hours staring at a screen, it adds up. The article mentions common things, eye strain, back problems, wrist issues like carpal tunnel. That's from the physical act of coding for long stretches.
Right, the ergonomics.
Yeah. But there's also the mental side. Constant problem solving, that intense concentration, deadline pressure. It can lead to serious mental fatigue. Burnout is a real thing in this industry.
It sounds like it's hard to just switch off.
It can be very hard. When you're wrestling with a really complex bug or design problem, your brain doesn't just clock out at 5 p.m., it keeps churning.
And that makes work-life balance tricky, I guess, like the article says.
Exactly. There's always one more thing to fix, one more feature to add. And that temptation to just push through, sacrifice personal time, sleep, exercise, it's strong. But the article's point is valid. You have to recognize that tendency and consciously work against it for your own health, your own long-term career. Find that balance.
Wow, okay. So pulling it all together, based on this ObserverPoint piece, programming is, well, it's a lot more than just typing code.
Yeah.
You're dealing with massive complexity, sometimes old and creaky systems, these elusive bugs, a tech landscape that never sits still.
Right.
Plus, you have to work effectively in teams, manage client expectations, and somehow look after your own well-being through it all.
That sums it up pretty well. It's multifaceted. Understanding these hurdles gives you, I think, a much better appreciation for what goes into the apps and websites you use every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You see the skill, the perseverance required.
The problem solving, definitely.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Next time an app glitches, maybe have a little more sympathy for the developers wrestling with it behind the scenes.
Maybe so.
And it also kind of highlights how important that continuous learning is, not just in tech, but maybe in any field that changes fast.
That's a great takeaway. Always adapting. And look, if you want to dig deeper, that article we base this on, Navigating the Hurdles, Challenges of Programming from ObserverPoint, it's a solid read.
Excellent. Well, thanks for walking us through that. Really insightful.
My pleasure.
And thanks, everyone, for tuning into this deep dive. Hope it gave you a clearer view. Catch you on the next one.